Great morning, everybody. Welcome to BMG4. We are thrilled to have you here with us today. Today's topic is going to be on legacy branding. So you guys know we have 8 topics. Today's legacy branding. And again, the mission is to empower each other as business owners with knowledge, intellect to help enhance our businesses personally and professionally. I couldn't have a better person to get you guys fired up on a Tuesday morning than Mike. Mike and I have met just a short time ago, and this guy's an absolute game changer. So what I've learned so far, he's an entrepreneur. He works really, really well with business owners and B2B. He runs a podcast. I mean, the guy's a complete stud. You're going to feel his fire and his energy when he starts to speak. He's going to go a little bit more in depth, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, guys, very simple. We're going to give Mike the floor. He's going to have all our attention. Again, for those that didn't hear this before, the information that Mike's bringing today is exclusive and highly sought after. So unfortunately, we cannot share this publicly. So I want to make sure that everybody gets notes today. It's very imperative that you do so. But without further ado, let's go ahead and give the floor to Mike.
Keegan, thanks, brother. Good morning, everybody. Hold on one second. I'm going to do a little screen share. Can you give me the opportunity to share, Keegan, please?
You should.
All right. Boom. Rock and roll. All right. Hold on one sec. We got one more step. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Can you see the how to build a legacy brand? We good?
We're good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I am stoked today. Is there anyone else that's just excited to be alive? Just, raise your hand. Are you excited to be alive? By the way, I like to make my presentations as interactive as possible. So I hope you're ready. So raise your hand if you're ready, and we're going to get started. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So fun little fact. I don't know. Is anyone here into celebrities? Is anyone here into celebrities just out of curiosity? Because right now you're in the presence of one, self-proclaimed. My family and I were on the Family Feud a few years ago. We scored 0 points, but we played really well, if that makes sense. So just wanted to let you know on that. So before jumping into building a legacy brand, I just want to share a little bit of background about myself because it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about today. So my entrepreneurial journey began back in high school when I started a car wash and detailing business at my dad's office buildings. It was the first time that I experienced the entrepreneurial life, and I absolutely loved it. I don't know if you guys, I'm assuming you guys are all entrepreneurs. I'm sure you're loving it just as much as I am. The better the service, the more repeat business that I had. The more that I hustled, the more that I made. I would sprint up and down the hallways, up and down the steps, because I knew that if I could do 2 cars an hour, I could make $25 per hour. $25 per hour, which was 5 times more than the hourly rate back then. So $5 an hour is what was going on back in the 80s. Just a little FYI for some of you younger folks that are on here. But so after graduating college, I went into construction management, where I learned every aspect of development, project financing, and construction. And I was a sponge. I wanted to know everything from bulldozers, backhoes, to loaders. My goal was to be the most valuable person on the project. And the reason why that is because I recognized back then that every day is an interview. Did you get that? Did you catch that? Every day is an interview, so we must be on our game. Then in 2003, I restarted my entrepreneurial career with Big Sky Enterprises, and the box that I now worked in had no walls. All the responsibility was on my shoulders, and I absolutely loved it. Since then, I've started multiple multi-million-dollar companies, 3 that have failed, but who cares, and a foundation. So the entrepreneurial life is remarkable and extremely rewarding, but it comes at a price and requires complete focus, commitment, and the ability to fail forward. Guess what? Guys, we're going to fail, but it's imperative that we fail forward. So today I want to share 3 key strategies to build your legacy brand that is going to increase your opportunities. And now listen to this, and eliminates competition. So you mean to tell me that you can eliminate competition? Yes, you can. There, I said it. Why is it important to build your brand? Because people buy people first. Believe it or not, you have tons of control over people's purchasing power. 77% of consumers are more likely to buy a new product when learning about it from a family or friend. So get on that. Get on that. All right. So what are some ways? What are the 3 ways that we're going to build a legacy brand? That's a great question, Mike. So write this down. Okay. Drum roll. If we got any drummers out there, please give me a little drum roll. Again, I like to make this interactive as possible. We're on Zoom here, so it's got to be as exciting as it possibly can. I want to make sure that it feels like I am right in front of you. But here it is. We're going to always be on. We're going to always be listening. And we're going to always be delivering. And what I like to call the trifecta of business. Yes, I completely made that up, but it is 100% fact. And by the way, you need to do this all day, every day. All day, every day. Like, Mike, are you kidding me? No, you want to be remembered, right? You want to be the only choice in your industry. You know, eliminate the competition. Okay, then. Every day when you wake up and you put on your big boy and big girl pants, you need to be prepared to always be on, always be listening, and always be delivering. Listen, I'm sure you're saying to yourself, like, Mike, that sounds like a lot of work. Guess what? It is. It is a lot of work. It's not going to be easy, but I can tell you right now, it's going to be worth it. Remember that line right there. Okay. Henry Ford. I don't know, anyone here familiar with Henry Ford? Okay, my guess is probably everybody here. He said that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Hashtag mic drop, hashtag no excuses, hashtag just execution. So we're going to say this together, no excuses, just execution on 3. 1, 2, 3. No excuses, just execution. Gosh, I love you guys. You guys are on it today. On it today. So always on. You must bring your all the time. That means you're intentional with everything that you do each day. You're laser focused and ready for when the coach calls you in, or a call comes into the office, or someone sees you at an event. You are on. You treat every interaction like it's the first impression. I don't care if you've known the person for years, you treat every interaction like it's the first impression. I'm telling you, you are on. You are on. A friend of mine came up to me, Tim, a few years back, and he says, Mike, you know what? You're always on. You're always ready. You're always engaged in conversation. And I said, Tim, you know what? I really appreciate you sharing that with me, because I work so hard at doing that. And I don't do it for, like, you know, to be selfish or anything like that. I do it because if I'm not always on, I can't protect my brand. We let our guard down, we can't protect our brand. And the same goes for you. So what are we going to say together? Join with me. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Awesome. Awesome. So building a legacy requires you to always be listening. Think about the way that we're made. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. God obviously had a reason for that, right? So it's always be listening. So I don't know about you guys, but I am sure that many of you are all big into networking. And when I go and network, all I do is ask questions. My goal is to get to the point of the conversation where they say, hey, Mike, you know what? All we're doing is talking about me. What about you? And it's like, bang, got it. Why do I have it? Because now I know how to respond. Now I know how to find common ground. Now I know how to make my message stick. I know who they need to meet. And guess what? If I do that well, they will want to make introductions for me, which what? Opens the door to opportunities and begins the process of eliminating competition. I mean, who here doesn't want to eliminate competition, right? Okay, Brene Brown, read this book. I mean, just absolutely amazing. Okay, let me see. It's right here. Dare to Lead. Check it out. Okay, Dare to Lead. In her book, okay, Tattooed on His Brain, she says, and when we listen with passion. Wow, how many of us listen with passion? Right? And just think about how much more we can accomplish and change if we listen with passion. Okay, we're going to say it together. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Awesome, awesome. Next one, building a legacy brand requires you to always be delivering. Without execution, it's just a dream. Without follow through, it's a missed opportunity. Without excellence, you're never going to stick out or be referred. Guys, without delivering the ultimate experience, you're just going to be a number. By the way, just being a number is completely exhausting. And I don't know if you've had that experience, but being a number, oh my gosh, it's just like, it never ends. And I got to keep, I got to stick out. I got to be different. I need to figure out how to eliminate the competition. How do I get more opportunities and eliminate the competition? Okay, guys, we're going to say this together. It is not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. So by executing these 3 principles, you can't help but deliver the ultimate experience. And the ultimate experience provides more opportunities and it helps eliminate the competition. Okay, I'm going to land the plane now. You are the CEO of your success. How awesome is that? You're the CEO of your success. You are the one who is responsible for your effort. So remember this, control the controllables. Anything that happens externally that comes to you, there's nothing you can do about it. What is going to be important is about how you react to it. Okay, you're the one that's going to determine what your brand is going to look like. You're the one that's going to also help what your company's brand looks like. So to make sure, right, that your brand doesn't just survive but thrive, you must what? Always be on, always be listening, and always be delivering. And in doing so, we're going to increase our opportunities and eliminate the competition. So build a legacy brand, and you'll be able to enter into any industry you want with a foot up on the competition. And how do I know that? I've had businesses in all different industries, and because of my network, I was able to get a jump start on each one of them. Why? Because of the brand and the legacy that I've been able to build. I can tell you this, it is not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. Now go forth and conquer. I don't know if you guys are, if we're connected or anything like that on any social media, but would absolutely love to connect with you guys, answer any questions that you may have. Fire away, Keegan.
Ooh, I don't know about you guys, but I love that. Incredible, Mike. You brought up a lot of really, really big points. I think that it's evident to me that you've played a sales role in the past, because a lot of these elements are on relationship building. And usually when we're in a sales role, for example, we've got to establish that trust. I mean, if we're with a complete stranger, we've got to establish these trust and all these other elements. But man, I love this. One of the quotes that really sticks out to me is that, and this is based on something you said, there is no success without failure, and there is no winning without losing. And so even though you threw out the fact that, hey, there were 3 businesses that they may have tanked. Again, that was a learning process and something that takes you to the next level. So anyway, I want to hear what the group has to say. I mean, that fired me up. Mike, do you mind either unsharing your screen, or maybe I'll change the view? I can't see everybody right now. So I want to make sure we get everybody's questions. Does anybody have questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
So I have a comment. I mean, we use that saying all the time, fail forward. And recently was shared, and I can't remember her name, but it's the billionaire that has Spanx.
Yes.
And okay. And she always said that growing up as a child, at the dinner table, the father would go around and ask them, what did you fail at today?
I
Because
like that.
he trained them that failure was good. It's not getting back up is the failure. As long as you know. So I thought that was interesting as a child. And she was the first female, right? First female billionaire, I believe. So that was pretty awesome. She had to report what she failed on every day.
Yeah, I you know what I think it's great. I look at today's generation. I have 3 kids, 2 that are in college, 1 that's in 6th grade, and I can tell you it is definitely it's a mindset thing. So I think that's really great what what he taught him, and I share that with my kids. I think it's a little bit they struggle today with failing. That I think a lot of it has to do also with social media and just the way that everything is, and everything looks like it's perfect when the reality is that it's very imperfect. But I think one thing that's important too that I teach my kids is we're not allowed to say I can't in our house. You can't say it, not allowed. Everything is we will figure out a way. So I think that also helps with embracing failure and failing forward.
You put a
I
post
had a
out
coach
on
that
Mike.
always said,
Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, just yesterday.
yeah, I just had a coach that said, when you say I can't, it really means I won't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a quick comment also on the failing forward. So I used to be a counselor, an addictions counselor for people with a drug and alcohol addiction. And a lot of times people would come in and say, I feel like a failure or I feel worthless. And, because of X, Y, and Z, I've damaged all my relationships with my family. I can't hold a job. I have nothing to show for the last 20 years of my life because everything I had went to alcohol or whatever it was. So they had all of these, really, really terrible lives and hardships that they've gone through. But the fact that they were in a treatment center, building their life, building a network for them, which is, their AA or their NA, and getting these connections and working on their life, it was just, I had to remind them that you are not a failure. Your strength is unlike anyone who has not had this kind of experience. Because average Joe who maybe had everything handed to them, their life was easy. As an adult, they have one hiccup and they can't handle it. I was like, you are sitting here, have gone through things that you see in movies that people can't even imagine, and you're picking yourself back up. And that shows so much that you were able to, what you think is failing, but you're getting yourself back up, and just the strength is, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the other things too is that I like to share when people, have troubled past, or people that have failed in business or whatever. And or they had, struggled in a relationship. I say, okay, what do you want to do to change the past? You can't. You can't change the past. You can only change the future. That is it. Look, what's done is done. It's time to move on. That chapter has closed. We're writing a new chapter. What do you want that new chapter to look like? Those decisions are going to be predicated on your relationships, what you put into your mind, how you, discipline yourself, creating, routines. All those things are important, right? To help yourself be successful. I know I came across a quote. So John Maxwell, absolutely love John Maxwell, probably one of my favorite, amazing podcast. But he made a quote. He said, "Success is adding value to yourself. Significance is adding value to others." So the question is do we want to live a life of significance, or do we just want to be known as being successful? Me personally, I'd rather live a life of significance, because I think if I do that, I can't help but be successful.
I love that, Mike. So 2 things. Number one, I think that something you just shared is something that I like to call the golden ticket. And so the golden ticket is broken into 3 parts. The first part is career. How many people can go out right now and find a job and make money? Everybody, right? Companies are bleeding for employment. The second one is the passion piece. And that is, usually stripped from us somewhere between childhood and adulthood. And that's either us talking ourselves out of something or somebody else talking us out of something. And then the third element to that is purpose. And that's how we're able to contribute back to others. Like Mike was talking about, that significance piece. So if we're able to marry all three of those, our career, our income, with something that we're passionate about by helping other people, that's the golden ticket. And so with that being said, the second part is more a question for you, Mike. Man, you are always on fire. So I would assume you probably wake up in the morning, pour some gasoline on your head and just light it and it never goes out. But I would love to hear for the group, what are some tips on your routine? Because I know you have a significantly different and unique routine. I would love for you to share a little bit about that with the group.
Sure. So first of all, listen, I actually did that one time. I poured gas on my head and burned all my hair off. I don't know what happened or what I was thinking that day. No, I'm just kidding. But listen, routine is everything. Routine is going to help you be consistent. Routine is going to improve your opportunity for success. It just is. And they say that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Remember that, write that down. 21 days to build a habit. And just focus on that particular day, just getting through that day. Don't worry about the 21 days. Focus on day one, then focus on day two. So 21 days to build a habit. You can do it. You can get it done. No one on here can say that they can't. Okay. I know for a fact that you can. So for me, my morning is all focused on myself, 100% on myself. I get up between 2:30 and 3 a.m. The first thing I do is prayer. Then I get into the word. I do a devotion, read some scripture. So I take care of like the spiritual aspect of myself. And then I go to the gym or work out at home, right? Then I take care of the physical. And the reason why I have to do that is because, again, it's selfish of me, sort of. But if I take care of myself, I can give more of it. And that's the reason why I do it, right? So listen, I get very frustrated when people say, I don't have time for myself. Well, I can tell you right now that if you don't have time for yourself, you're probably not creating as much impact as you probably could. Think about a car. Can a car go 500 miles if the oil is dirty and whatnot? No, it could cease and stop. So how good and effective is a car if it can't run? It's the same thing as us. If we're not taking care of ourselves spiritually, physically, whatever it may be, guess what? We're going to have a hard time getting from point A to point B as efficient, as effective as possible. So really hone in on having a routine. I mean, I don't care if it's morning, afternoon, or night. Figure it out on how to do it. Me personally, I want that foundation early so I'm ready to attack the day. When things come my way and fires come, and let me tell you something, they come all throughout the day, constantly putting out fires. I love it, right? I love it. I love being a solution to a problem, but I'm able to do that effectively, take those things on because I took care of myself. I filled my tank in the morning to be ready for the day. So honestly, I just want to encourage you to make sure that you make time for yourself on a daily basis, not for selfish purposes, but to be able to give more of yourself effectively, right? It's hard, right, to have a conversation or to help someone if we're completely exhausted. And always set up boundaries.
I really appreciate you giving a plug for my book today, Mike. That was awesome.
Let's go.
No, that's literally what the book is about. It's called Selfish to Selfless, and it's everything that you just described. And so I'm really glad that you illustrated that point because you are the man. No, thank you. But I'm so glad that you illustrated that point because, I see Mike as somebody that's always on fire. He talked about, breaking it down. You want to be on, listening, delivering. Well, you do that. And this is, again, all built around our brand legacy. But as business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or even just individuals networking, you are your brand. And how you build that up is through what Mike's talking about and having that routine. And of course, guys, look, he just said that he's got children, he's married, he's got family. There are other people on this call that have families as well. it's not that we don't have the time, it's how we prioritize that time. And so the morning segment before people are up, before the sun is up, that's where we get our routine in. That's where we get the results for ourselves so that, as he mentioned, the oil is good and we have a fully running and efficient car. One thing real quick, Mike, that I wanted to share, I know you're a big fan of John C. Maxwell. And so, you know, I think that this is really good to share with everybody. And this is really simple. It's from his book, Relationships 101. So the least important word is I. The most important word is we. The two most important words are thank you. The three most important words are all is forgiven. The four most important words, what is your opinion? The five most important words, you did a good job. And the six most important words, I want to understand you better. And so I don't want to brush this under the rug, but something that Mike started with is that people buy people first. And that is true in all arenas, sales, entrepreneurialism, running a business. They are buying that person before they're buying the product or the service. And so I thought that that was a really good reference to share because it's all about how are we helping other people, and we're carrying people on our shoulders selflessly so that we can serve. And so I just wanted to share that. Does anybody else have any thoughts, comments, questions? Josh?
Real quick, Mike, crushing it. One
Thanks,
thing I want
brother.
to circle back around to is always be listening. I think listening is so key in relationships, not only in business, but, you know, personally as well. And if more people listened, it would be a better world. Listening is often the only thing you need to help someone. I love that. But it's a skill. I find it hard and difficult being my personality. I come in and Mike, I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, I got energy for days. Somebody's not matching that energy. Let's go. Sometimes you kind of railroad and just kind of push through. How have you kind of honed your listening skills over the years? Or was there a moment where you're like, I need to shut up and listen more? Because I think it's difficult. I don't think it's very easy to sit and listen and just consume and react that way. And some of the best CEOs that you ever talk to or read about, you know, they sit down at the head of the table and they start pointing at people. They go around that whole table to get everybody's thoughts. And once it gets back to them, now they know what everybody in the room is thinking and they can make a better decision. But like I said, it's not an easy skill to do. So are there tips or a moment that you remember that like listening really kind of shifted for you, that kind of came into the skill that it is today?
So if I didn't listen to your entire question,
Mhm.
would I be able to effectively answer your question?
No, you would not.
Exactly. So I want to make sure, and when I look down here, it's because I got you guys on my screen down here, but I got my camera up here. It's emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm.
It's understanding that, hey, guess what? So listen, if I want to make sure that I connect with someone, I've got to be a great listener. And if I want to provide a solution to maybe a question that they have, and I'm not saying everything is going to be a solution, but sometimes people just want to be heard, I'm just going to just listen. But if I interrupt at any point in time when they're saying something, I might miss the question. I might miss what it is that they wanted to share. And who knows, it could be to my benefit. But I know for me that when I'm with people who have to like share something because I said something in the beginning of something, maybe let's say, the first 5 seconds of something that I wanted to share that was 20 seconds, just think about that. They missed 15 seconds of what I had to say that could be instrumental to what I wanted to ask. And now it's gone. It's gone, right? So I want to know and hear everything. And I don't care if it's a long-winded question or a long-winded statement. I want to know it all. And I want to be patient. And I want to be smiling. And I want them to know that I am completely engaged to everything that you're saying because you matter. Personally, professionally, your brand is your brand no matter where you are. If I go ask your friends, okay, hey, tell me who Josh is. What are they going to say? And then when I go ask your coworkers or your clients or whatever, when I ask that same question, what are they going to say? Like, you just, I mean, it just listening, again, the 2 ears, 1 mouth. If we can just remember that, oh my gosh, if we listen to everything that someone is supposed to say to us, just think of how more of an effective leader, how more of an effective friend, whatever it is, business, entrepreneur, boss, whatever, team member that we're going to be if we understand the whole thing, the whole scenario that someone is saying. And it's just recognizing, again, the emotional intelligence is just recognizing that, hey, it's not about me. It's not about me. I need to listen. I need to listen effectively. I need to be patient. I need to be taking it in. I don't want to be thinking like I can totally tell when people, when they just want to, they just can't help but move and want to share something right away. And then sometimes they do. And it's like, I wanted to hear what that person was going to ask. Right? Because again, think about, I mean, one of the philosophies that I like to live by is, do unto others as I would have done to me. Just think about that. Like, do I want to be interrupted? Do I want to be, do I want someone to listen to me when I'm saying something? Yeah. Well, then guess what? I got to do the same thing. And I'm not saying that I don't fail. There's certainly plenty of times where I'm like, I'm jumping in, right? And I'm like, why'd I do that? It's, and then it impacts, a potential solution to whatever it may be. Does that help?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I have a question.
Sure, fire away. Matt?
What do you do about people that have 2 mouths but no ears?
To what is it?
2 mouths but no ears. Like most of my family doesn't know how to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That is a common problem I find, that people don't know how to listen, only know how to talk. So what do you deal with those people that never acknowledge you, but it's always about them?
You know what? You just need to, I mean, if you can recognize, again, emotional intelligence is also understanding who it is, that's around you, that you're talking to. You know what? If there's going to be people that are just going to continually do that, you know what? You just take it for what it's worth. Look, family, you can't trade them in. It is what it is. But you can determine on how you want to deal with it, right? Like, hey, you know what? I know that they're going to interrupt. I know that they're going to talk and talk and talk. I can either just say, hey, you know what? I'm listening, but maybe I'm not listening, right? Because there's just, there's just certain people that they just want to talk just to hear themselves. And I'm going to listen. I might not be as intent. I have ADHD to the core, as you can probably imagine. So there's times that, like, if you're going to be someone that just keeps talking, I mean, it's very highly likely that I'm probably checking out to the left. I'll come back every once in a while if you're going to keep talking. But you know what? It's just, you determine, okay, you know what? How much do I want to listen to particular people? And again, it's family. So you can't really get around it unless you just say, hey, you know what? I'm only going to be here for a short period of time and then I'm out.
Well, it isn't just family, it's also other clients. So there are a lot of people that know how to speak but don't know how to listen, or it's selective hearing. So communication has to work in 2 aspects. So we all have to have our turn in line when we speak or when we listen. But some people don't care about that aspect and they don't know how to communicate. And those are the people that make it, exponentially more difficult to try to, help them in the long run, because they won't let you help you, or they make it inherently more difficult.
Sure. So client, totally different relationship, right? Totally different relationship. And that's going to be dependent upon, like, do you even want to work with people like that? Guess what? I've fired clients. There's just certain clients. I mean, if they don't want to listen, or that they don't want to, do the things that I say, hey, we need to do this or we need to do that, then guess what? We're just not made for each other. And it is okay. You know what? You can't work with everyone. Go work with the people that want to work with you. Go work with the people that are going to respect you. Go work with the people that you're not. And guess what? There's going to be clients that are going to be hard. There's just no way around that. But just focus on the 80-20 rule. Just remember, 20% of the people are going to bring you 80% of your revenue. Period. End of story. focus on the 20% and continue to drive, write down, okay, who is my ideal client? And just continue to interview the potential clients that you work for. That's what I do. I continually interview them. Do I really want to work with these people in the beginning? And if not, it's like, hey, you know what? Do you guys have time? We really appreciate it. But unfortunately, I mean, we're really booked right now. Sorry, we're not going to be able to help you. Or again, I mean, in the middle of working with, some clients, had to let them go. Like, you know what? You don't want to listen to the things that we had to say or our ideas, and you got other things coming in from everyone else because they asked 40 million people questions about the particular project. Hey, you know what? We're not a good fit, and it's okay. I just want you to know that I want you to be as wildly successful as possible, whatever that may be. And I'm out. Remember, focus on the fans. We want to make sure that we create fans wherever it is that we go. That includes those that we don't even do business with, that we say, hey, you know what? Departing left. Good luck with everything. We want them to be a fan because we want to make sure that our brand is protected, right? I mean, I want someone to just come in and just say, hey, go on, try and hit my brand. Try and beat it up. Try and beat it up. I'm going to make sure that I've built enough and a strong enough of a brand where it's been consistent for year over year over year, where if someone says something, there's going to be 10 people that are going to say, you're wrong.
So just to piggyback off of, and that was a great question too, by the way, Matt, I think that it is extremely relevant. You have to know when to be able to fire clients. And again, if we're chasing the purpose over the dollar, it may be a little difficult at first, but once we make that commitment, it turns out better in the long run. And I've had to go through that myself. But one thing I wanted to share based off of Josh's question is that something Mike said at the beginning is that, look, when we are establishing trust, which is a very key element, one of the good ways to establish trust is through similar experience. So I've got this very simple rubric that's extremely easy in building rapport, and it's just frog. Okay, frog. So F is family, R is recreation, O is occupation, and G are your goals. So family, recreation, occupation, and goals. And you're obviously not going to go in there and be like, hey, what's your frog? Of course it's a delicate transition, but it's a really good way to build that similar experience. Oh, no way. You've got two sisters? Oh, I do too. Awesome. Right. And then you get to learn about somebody, and that helps to answer that listening part, right? Because now, Josh, it's about, we are doing this cohesively and we're building the similar experience by me genuinely caring, because I'm not just learning about you. I'm seeing ways that we can connect. What are the similarities? Are we a good fit? And to be able to do that, you ask about the family, the recreation, the occupation, and the particular goals. So that's a really simple rubric, and there's a lot more deeper ways to do that, but I thought that might be a helpful little key.
Can I share something real quick, Keegan? And it's just also to just kind of piggyback on Matt too. I just want to encourage you guys on this. In 08 and 09, so my first business was a construction management company. We're getting ready to celebrate 20 years next year, which is awesome and exciting. In 08 and 09, as you can imagine, the market tanked. There was no business. We had zero. In 09, I tell you, zero revenue. I'm talking, we had zero revenue for a year. And we're working with this one particular client. We just had one that we were just working with. We weren't solidified or anything like that. We did a lot of work up front. That's kind of like our sales and marketing on some projects. And again, they wouldn't listen. And they just wanted to listen to other people. And we said it was fine. We let them go. I don't care if you cannot waste your time on people or clients who don't respect or don't want to, be on the same page as you, or who are a challenge to work with. Like when there's just constant friction and you're just constantly hitting a wall, You got to move on. You got to move on. Even if it's your only thing that you have as an opportunity to generate money. Because by the way, 2 weeks later, we had 2 shovel-ready projects come our way. Bang, about $4 million worth of business, right? Because we just stayed true to ourselves, right? Like I said, write down who it is that is your perfect client, right? Not everyone's going to be perfect, but write it down so you're intentional in identifying them. And if, as things go on in the beginning of the relationship, if it's not lining up, exit stage left, okay? Because there's other people that want your business. And that was with kids, mortgages, everything. Scary? No, it was the right thing.
It's the right thing to do. And that's also a cultural component too, right? It's when we are in a business or when we're running a business, we have to have standards and expectations, not just for ourselves, but for the business and the company moving forward. And exactly, Mike, if that person's not a good fit, you just got to say bye. Guys, we're getting really close to the end here. I'm just curious if anybody has any other particular questions or comments for Mike.
I think Patty had a question.
Well, I was just going to say in relation to what Matt was speaking about, although I am all about letting people go that you don't really want to work with anyway. However, having said that, when you're dealing with people, it's not our job to squash the darkness. It's our job to bring in the light. So we lead by example by saying to your client, well, let me just make sure I heard you correctly. This is what you're looking for. And then that indicates to them that you really listened to them. And then you can say, so this is what I would suggest or recommend. Now, when it comes to family or close friends, I will tell you, my husband has these 2 friends and man, the 3 of them go at it like crazy. So they've incorporated hard stop. So they speak until they hit that hard and they go hard stop. And then it's your turn. So, just a thought.
I love it.
I was going to make a comment on active listening that kind of connected to something you said, Mike. So something with active listening is you want to make sure you are listening to understand rather than to respond. And like you were saying, a lot of that is to ask a bunch of questions, because if you're listening, partially listening, and you're just thinking about what your response is, your focus is on you and how you're going to, represent yourself and how your say is going to, make you look in the conversation. But if you're listening to understand, like you said, those questions will kind of come up more naturally, and you can continue to ask more about them to keep the focus on them. And one skill that really helped me was learning to ask people like before they get too deep, is asking, are you looking for advice right now, or are you looking for just someone to vent to? Because a lot of times people get frustrated. I'm like a problem solver. So as soon as they're like giving me stuff, I'm like, okay, well, you can do this or this or this or this. And sometimes they're like, I don't want any of this right now. All I need is just like get this off my chest and then I'm good to go. Like if you're sitting here and offering me all these things, like I'm just getting frustrated and I'm going to stop. So just being able to ask them, do you want advice right now, or do you just need someone to talk to? Because if you just need someone to talk to, you take a different role in the conversation. So that's all I have to say.
That's a great point. And questions are good, right? I just think it just makes us more effective in terms of, our conversation and how we build relationships. Again, the more that we know, the better that we can problem solve or respond or whatever it is. And I love those 2 questions. And you're gonna have a pretty good close probably relationship when asking certain questions too.
So and that's a great point, Briss and Mike. So one thing that I think is really powerful when you're a business owner, I used to do this when I ran an office and we had receptionists and people that were taking high volumes of calls, but these calls were really, really important. And so any missed call or missed conversation was a missed opportunity. And so this is something that's really easy to implement with a VA or an assistant of some capacity, the questions game. And this is just a really simple, really funny exercise. it's easy. You close the door with your teammate, or you do this virtually, and basically you just rapid fire questions, right? So I'll ask, like, for example, I'd ask Mike a question and then he would ask me a question. Now it's fun because we're trying to derail each other. We're going to ask each other like really outlandish questions to try to throw each other off. And the point is, you want to keep going, so it would be something like, Mike, did it hurt when you lit the fire and burned your hair? Right. So it's just a simple, silly little question. Obviously, it's just a joke, but it keeps that question momentum going, and you go and go and go and until you see who stops or who actually answers the question. But it's just a simple, easy way to kind of get you in the right mindset. And that's really powerful if you do that at the beginning of the day.
Yeah. I think too, another thing, I think sometimes we're a little too serious. You got to enjoy just the entire process, personally and professionally. Look, my whole thing is about having fun. I mean, I'm going to have a blast with my clients regardless. I mean, it is what it is. I think Colin Powell, I think this was his quote. He said, take your job seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. I think that's something that's important for us too, especially as leaders, is to just understand that, hey, we are going to do whatever, we can to make sure that we crush, the work that we have to do, but we can't take ourselves seriously or too seriously. I think it can impact too on how, people perceive us, our brand, even our product or service.
Well said. Any other questions or thoughts? Were you about to ask something, Jen?
Yep, couldn't get off mute. I was just going to add two kind of listening tricks that I've always used when I've had direct reports. I had one in particular that could not listen to save his life. And that was really our role. And so one of the things that I worked on with him was a 7-second rule. So if we were asking a question, wait 7 seconds. Sometimes that conversation may get really awkward not 7 minutes, 7 seconds, with 7 seconds of silence, but you're restraining yourself from replying to your own question. And he had that tendency to already know what he wanted to say and wanted to get it out there, so he wouldn't give somebody a chance to answer. And so with that 7 seconds, if they haven't replied in 7 seconds, they may not have an answer. They may need some guidance. But if they've started by then, stop and listen. So 7 seconds is always kind of a good rule. And then me personally, I always try, especially when I may be having a hard time listening to someone, I'll kind of do this thing with myself where I'm listening for as if I wanted to buy them a Christmas gift. Some of my absolute favorite Christmas gifts to give are the ones that somebody randomly said that they would like in passing and thought no one heard them say that. And when they end up getting that gift, they're like, you remember me saying that? And I'm like, yeah, you said it, just real randomly. And so when I'm struggling, really paying attention, I try and think, okay, what could I buy this person? What are they saying that I could buy them for Christmas? And it just helps me kind of refocus myself on truly what they're saying.
Absolutely. No, that's really good, Jen. And you know what, I think all of us, right? There's 10 of us, 12 of us here. You know what, everyone is going to have a different method of listening. So, take the ideas of everyone, test and measure, see what works best for you, that makes you, the best active listener possible. Again, I just love, when we listen with passion, just recognizing that listening, it just like, we're going to love it. We're just going to go into this interaction. And I'm just going to love hearing what someone has to say, right? We're going to love people. We're going to love on them just by listening. And it's, just watch what happens to your brand, to your service, whatever it is that you're providing. I'm telling you right now, you're just going to solidify that relationship. And when things go south, like in terms of the market, you're going to have loyal clients. They're not going anywhere else. Like our construction management company is 100% referral based. We don't blind bid anything. It's all relationships, all of it. And it's just, that's how important it is. It's like, we're just using you guys. We're just using Big Sky. We're not going anywhere else. We're like, awesome, right? But it just, years and years and years of just building relationships, being great listeners, always being on, always delivering, all those things. So, I mean, do that effectively. And I'm telling you, I mean, it'll be hard for you to, we're going to have this, but we're going to keep going up.
Absolutely. And I think that that's more important now than ever before, Mike, is that, guys, if you're setting out intentionally to build relationships, it's going to help in the long run. I mean, business nowadays is built on the relationships that we have. It's not built on, there's a quote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's really based on building relationships, the listening, all of this incredible stuff. So before we close out, Mike, I'm just curious if you have any last minute tips, pointers, anything that has to do with our brand and building that legacy.
Yeah, you know what? Just be yourself. Honestly, by not being yourself, it's going to be extremely hard to have a brand that's consistent. I think that is one of the biggest things that people struggle with. I get it. Like, we want to put on, a great face, a great performance, whatever it is. Still just be yourself, whoever it is that you are. And again, if someone doesn't like you for who you are, it's okay. It is okay. Guess what? Some people don't want to be around me because I'm loud, right? I can be obnoxious, right? Because I like to break chops and stuff like that. And guess what? If they don't, I get it. It's okay. So but I'm going to be myself, right? I mean, my passion is whatever my passion is, I'm going to continue to do it. So excuse me, I have a presentation, ignite your passion, find your purpose. So whatever it is that you love, find that passion, do it. And then align that thing with purpose, and you can't help but absolutely crush it. I'm going to give you one more thing. Right here, epic book. Just so much goodness in this. Great at Work, Morton Hansen, I think, will teach you a lot. It taught me a lot. One of the things that's, the hidden habits of the top performers. So really good. If you're a book reader, let's see here. What else? I just read something too that was really, really good.
Hey, Mike, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If you're breaking chops, is it karate, pork, or lamb?
It depends. It's gonna be. I'm gonna go lamb. Lamb's my fave.
Are you being bashful about it?
What's that?
Are you being bashful about it?
I love it. I know you've been around enough people right today. And I just gotta share all of their jokes. I love it. Keep bringing it.
Hey guys, any more questions, comments, concerns, last minute snide remarks before we close out?
This is not a remark. This is, hi, I'm Cassie. I work with Mike Regina. How are you?
Hi, Cassie.
Good. I just wanted to see if hi, how are you today?
Great.
Have to be good after this presentation. Before we all head out, I just wanted to do a quick screenshot of everyone in the camera, just for social media. We'll tag everyone. I'd like to end it off with a quick screenshot photo so we could post on our platforms. So when you're ready, I'm gonna screenshot. Ready?
Rock and roll.
1, 2, and 3. Good. Oh wait, Matt, I'll get you in. Hold on, one more. Matt has a wig on. All right. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Guys, I would love to connect too on LinkedIn or whatever, IG, please. Would love to know more about you guys. Please let me know, how can I help in whatever way possible. I'm gonna leave it with I'll leave with one more thing, just in terms of networking. Remember, networking is only about finding out how can I connect someone. That is networking. You walk into a room, it's not what can I get out of this, it's what can I put into this. Done. I'm out.
That's it. Guys, thank you so much for all the thoughts, questions, stories, everything that you've shared today. Mike, incredible presentation. Guys, again, remember that we can't share this publicly. So if you're not part of the YouTube group, make sure that you get on there and subscribe today so you can get access to this. But thank you all so much. Love you guys. Have an incredible Tuesday. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Later, y'all.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's
Thanks
go.
so
No,
much,
thank
Mike.
you,
It was
guys.
great. Bye, Keegan.
Appreciate
Bye,
it.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bless you.
See you guys.